On March 21st of 2017, we had patrol officers that responded to an address in the 2100 block of Westfield Drive. They responded with EMS and fire personnel, first responders, in reference to an 86-year-old female who had fallen and was unresponsive. Officers, paramedics, and firefighters got on scene, rendered first aid to her. She was actually transported to South Georgia Medical Center where first aid was still being given to her and life-saving practices were still going on with her. Unfortunately, she was later pronounced deceased at the hospital, and then that's when Lowndes County Coroner Oster 5-Ash got notified by the hospital. As time went on, the next day, I'll let him explain how he got notified.
Okay, so in the late afternoon hours, the Lowndes County Coroner's Office was notified by South Georgia Medical Center that a death had occurred in the ER. Per statute and local protocol, the Coroner's Office investigates all deaths that die within 24 hours of admission to the hospital. After an initial investigation, we did decide to retain custody of the body for an additional 12 hours just to check up on some loose ends. And during that period of time, in the morning hours the next day, we received a phone call from a family member who had concerns as to the events and what may have transpired with his family in regards to her passing. I spoke on the phone with him for quite some time, trying to gather details and information that he was relaying, somewhat skeptical at first. At the conclusion of that conversation, we extended our custody of the body for a little while longer, and at which point I contacted the person crime unit here at the Valdosta Police Department. Spoke with Commander Manahan and let her know kind of what we had going on, that I intended to go to this residence where the initial event took place and to interview some witnesses and folks out there, and I wanted VPD to tag along in that. So person crimes detective did come out, and we interviewed the family and the witnesses that were present for the initial medical event that EMS was called to the day before. At the conclusion of that interview that day in the home, both myself and the detective had some concerns and some questions. There were just some things that were not adding up. So the coroner's office did consult with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and we did order an autopsy of this 86-year-old female. Shortly thereafter, we were notified, I believe either the same day or the day after, of preliminary findings from the medical examiner's office that were consistent with non-accidental trauma. So at that point, the Valdosta Police Department kind of picked up more of a criminal approach to the investigation.